Hey friend, Roger Christofferson here again with another first listen review. And quite honestly, I wasn't really going to say much about this one because I didn't think it was going to be much of anything. I'm talking about, or should I say babbling about, the new tribute album to Triumph. But it's a first little side note, or actually a major note. Triumph has once again gotten together to do a show. I was excited at first. I thought they were going to be doing a tour and I might actually get a chance to see them. I grew up just a little bit south of Buffalo, which is very close to Canada, and as you know, Triumph is a Canadian band. So growing up, I listened to one main Buffalo radio station, and they played a lot of Triumph, and that's kind of like what introduced me to Triumph, was just tuning into that radio station as a kid and hearing all the songs they played. And by the time I finally actually got to see anything to do with Triumph, it was Rick Emmett opening for Lynyrd Skynyrd, and that's about the only time I got to see any of those guys, but that was a great concert. I actually still remember that one pretty well, and he put on a great show, but I never got to see Triumph. So when I saw that they were kind of reuniting, I got excited until I realized it was only for a one-off little thing they're doing. And anyway, so that little side note had it. I didn't know if the timing of this just happened to line up by accident or if they planned this out, but I decided to pick this one up and give it a listen because I do enjoy these tribute albums. It's kind of cool hearing other people sing other people's stuff, especially if it was an inspiration to them, which of course we don't always know, but I just like listening to it. It's just kind of a fun little twist on things sometimes. They never usually turn out to be better than what the original are, but sometimes there's cool little twists and stuff on these. There's a lot of people on this one too. A lot of people involved. I mean, we've got different singer on every song. A lot of different musicians throughout. Of course, the majority of the drums are carried out by Tommy Aldrich and Kenny Aronoff. No big surprise there that Kenny is involved in something. He just seems to always be on everything. And then you got a lot of different guitar players on this too, and they switch things up a lot. The cool thing was to see Phil X, involved in this, because he, as maybe some people don't know, he took over on the very last Triumph album as a guitarist, although Gil sang everything, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But although that album I haven't listened to a whole lot, it was just cool to see that Phil is involved in this. So I gave it a listen. A lot of songs. There's 15 songs, so right from the start there's a lot. And it kicks in with Sebastian Bach singing 24 hours a day, and that goes right into Rock and Roll Machine. And it was interesting because all of these I was kind of like wondering how it was going to sound, because Rick Emmett's one of these amazing talents, like a freak of nature that can like sing like amazingly well and play guitar amazingly well. And that's no slouch to Gil, who plays drums and sings, because Gil's got a cool voice. In fact, some of my favorite songs of Triumph are sung by Gil. But when you're singing stuff that these guys have sang, you have to have some pretty good pipes. So I mean, Sebastian Bach in his day was great. I've heard some stuff lately that hasn't been all that spectacular, so I was kind of wondering how this was going to sound, and he did a great job. Really good, actually. And he had Bumblefoot playing guitar on this one, which was pretty cool. So that was a good way to start out. Started out really good. I was really super impressed with Magic Power, which had Joey Belladonna singing on this one. He freaking nailed it. Just couldn't believe how good he actually sang that one. I was actually really impressed with that one. And one of my favorite songs of all time is the next one in line here, which was Spellbound. This album I got when I was one of the first albums. I shouldn't say one of the first, but it was early on in my buying my own music days. Go and mow lawns and shovel driveways and stuff to earn money. And this was one of the first albums I bought, and it was mainly because of Follow Your Heart, because that was a big radio hit. I was into that more melodic stuff at first, but when Spellbound, I dropped the needle and Spellbound played, I was hooked. That was my favorite song off the album. And got to hear Mickey Thomas sing it, although not quite as heavy as the original. He did a very good job, but Mickey Thomas is an amazing singer, and it was a good job. I'll give him that. and I think it was Phil X played on this one. So yeah, Phil X played on this song. Freaking really, his way of doing the solo, not quite the same as Rick's obviously, but I think he did a pretty good job. Unfortunately, the next song in line here, Late on the Line, awesome, big hit for Triumph, one of their most famous songs probably. Has Dee Snider singing. I say unfortunately because I love Dee Snider, but this was a little bit not a good match for me anyway, just my taste. Some people may have liked this. Not that he's a bad singer, because I think Dee Snider actually sings great. I just think when you're so used to hearing the original of this one, it just didn't match up good for me. Sorry, it just is what it is. But although Paul Gilbert toured it pretty good on here. Now, interestingly enough, they covered Somebody's Out There, which was a big radio hit for them. It has Lawrence Gowan singing on this one, who's currently in Styx, but I think he was a big deal up in Canada. He had his own band, so up there for a few years. I'm not really super familiar with him, quite honestly, but did a really good job singing the song. It's one of the more poppy songs, but got Dave Amato playing guitar on this one, who did a really good job. Although I do have to say, the guitar solos, these guys shred. Everybody on this album shreds. But nothing really stood out on any of these as far as anything that took over what the original was. It's just these guys adding their own little flavor to the songs. Stylistically, as far as the singing goes, I always found it interesting that the singers pretty much have to stick to the original, like melodies and inflections, all little tiny stuff. Otherwise, people judge them very harshly. Whereas guitar players can just go in and do whatever the hell they want to do, and nobody cares. It's kind of unfair, I think. But anyway, now Never Surrender is the next one in line. Dean Castronova sings this one, and he sings. I think he's got a great voice, and he sings really high in this one, like probably one of the most trying songs of his vocal. Even I think this was probably might be harder to sing than any of the Steve Perry stuff he's done, but did a great job on it nonetheless. And he's got Tony Franklin with fretless bass on this one. I'm not familiar with Justin Derrico. He played a really good guitar solo on this one too. This one actually featured Brooks Wackerman on the drums too. So interesting combination of dudes there. And one I was wondering how it was going to sound was the next one in line. There's Jeff Keith singing Hold On. It's actually Phil X playing all the guitars on this one. And I personally think this was a really good fit for his vocals, because it starts out with that acoustic guitar. And he's kind of a southern rock, southern sounding metal, I guess, with his band. So it was a good fit. And I thought that was a really good performance on his part, really good song choice, and the way he sang it. Actually didn't try to copy Rick, even though held true to the melody, still put his own little twist on it. Just One Night was cool little next one in line here had Jason Scheff singing that one, most famous probably for being in Chicago for a little while, and it was probably their shot at trying to make a ballad, I guess. But it was a good job on his part, not one of the highlights of the album at all. But however, the next one line here, I Live for the Weekend, which was never one of my favorite songs of Triumph, has Slash and Nita Strauss playing guitar on this one, along with Dorothy. If you guys aren't familiar with who that is, you should check out her band and her solo stuff. She's a freaking killer singer. And Tyler Connolly singing on this one. Even though I'm not too familiar with Tyler Connolly, this version of the song had a lot of energy. All the rhythm guitars on this one, and Phil X is a killer guitar player. He plays with a lot of feel, and this song, I think, might be better than what the original was, if I dare say that one. It's one of those rare cases where it actually was better than the original. Now, this is where it takes a really weird twist, and I kind of like it when artists do this. And the song was Fight the Good Fight, which has soaring super high vocals on it and all that kind of crazy stuff. But it's got Nancy Wilson singing on it, and they slowed this down and made it kind of a sultry little laid back version of it, but it sounds great. There's another good, if you like the original version of this, you want to hear somebody trying that, there's a little bit of good news here for you at the end. But yeah, their version of this was actually really cool. I like it when bands do this. they make a little twist of it, turn it into their own thing. And this is the only time on this, any of this, where they, well, there's one other one that does this too, but this is the first time on this where they really try to make it their own. So that being said, we go into Follow Your Heart, which I already mentioned being one of my favorite songs of these guys. It has Jack Blade singing it, which I was like, all right, this is a Rick song, and singing Rick is not easy, and Jack isn't really known for singing super high parts at all. However, I've never heard him sing this high on anything ever, and he did a really good job. He hit the notes. He didn't sound like he was straining too hard, but it didn't really sound a whole lot like Jack Blades a lot of the time either. So I don't know if he went into a different persona to get this stuff done, but he did a pretty good job on it. Got to hand it to him, and I was actually real impressed with what he did with that one. And actually, this one, Reb Beach on guitar too, who just shredded away on this one. He just didn't slow down for a second on that solo. But after that, we had Allied Forces, which had all the guitars and all the singing done by Phil X on this one, which made me wonder, why didn't he? I don't think he sang on that last album with them, and if he didn't, why didn't he? Because I've heard him do some stuff on YouTube too. Like I remember him singing Highway Star and just nailing the vocal. I'm like, this is one of these other guys that can like sing really good. He's got a definitely deeper voice, but he can still hit all those notes, and he actually, I think he did a great job on this. So, it just makes me question why he didn't ever sing more stuff with them. But the other weird one where they take the artist takes their own little twist and puts it on it was Blinding Light Show, which actually I'm not a huge, I don't know the song that well, I should say. I'm not huge of anything. I don't know what he was going for there, but don't know the song that well. However, if you don't know who Envy and None is, it's kind of Alex Lifeson's newest project, and they definitely made this their own. There's no guitar shredding on this one, although if you want to hear Lifeson like shred some, Triumph type stuff, check out Rick Emmett's Resolution 9 album, way from 2016, because Lifeson plays some cool little guitar on there. So if you like to hear what that would sound like, check that out, because that's pretty cool. And then the whole thing ends with another version of Fight the Good Fight, which I was kind of alluding to earlier on, and that's got Dino Jalusic singing on it, he's just been kicking around here the past few years. He's kind of taken over for David Coverdale and the White Snake, what they're calling the White Snake Experience now. I don't know if that's ever going to be a tour. It's supposed to be another one of these things where it's a one-off show, but you know how that always goes. These one-off things sometimes turn into more. And that's kind of how it ends, with him just tearing it up and nailing that. If you want to hear the rockin' version of it, you got it. If you don't care that much, the earlier version with Nancy Wilson singing, I thought was really cool. So anyway, this one's gone on kind of long, but I really like this. I don't think I've ever done a review on a tribute album before, but this one was actually really good. So I had to do it. So I'm not going to carry on too much longer. If you want to comment on this, as always, feel free. Anything's welcome. Opinions are all different, so we may not agree on anything here. We might agree on everything. Who knows? Don't shy away from saying what you feel. And like, share, and subscribe to keep this music alive, because, man, people should be playing more Triumph music. I don't hear it quite as much as I used to. So it was like awesome to hear all this stuff again with a little different twist on it. But man, it got my blood boiling in a good way. Pumping. I'll say that. So until Triumph actually does something, or maybe they should start doing some re-releases like every other band out there in the world is doing, with some bonus stuff and some unheard songs, that would be freaking awesome. So until then, we'll see you.